What is up, guys? Happy April. This is like the first week of April and it's my birthday week. So, yeah, I'm super excited about my birthday. I'll be 51. So here for it. Like, I love it. I love birthdays for myself. I love birthdays for everybody. It's just kind of a thing. And, I was sitting there and I was thinking in some sessions earlier today, just hearing how the conversations were going. And it made me think, you know what? I really wanted to hop on here, just kind of have something out there so you guys kind of have it, just in case you ever want to reference it if you choose to. Is you get really caught up on the attachment. Look, this is different than having attachment issues, and we can totally have a podcast and a video on all of that and, therapies and things like that. But the attachment I'm talking about isn't like an attachment issue. The attachment I'm talking about is the attachment that we have to things and to the idea of success, not people. Okay? So everything in life is temporary. And I think that that's really hard for people to hear. Like, everything's temporary. Like, you don't really own anything. You're like, okay, I own my house. Even if your house is fully paid for, you don't really own your house. It's not going anywhere. Like, you're in it. You don't have to pay bills. Well, you have to pay bills in it, but you don't have to pay the mortgage. Okay, that's fine, but it's still not yours. When you go, that's not coming with you. So it's temporary. And this is going to be important because you attach your worth to success. But what is success? Because if you're defining success as money and making it to the top, that's not necessarily success. There are a lot of successful people on this planet who are still dealing with things. And, I'm not going to go down the whole thing that happened with Chris Rock and Will, but I will say this. And Will has money, lots of it. He has fame, lots of it, right? You can tell there's still something there that he's going through. And it doesn't matter the why, and I'm really not interested in getting into it. But what I'm saying behind that is it doesn't matter if you're thinking that all the money in the world is going to make you happy. All of the fame in the world is going to make you happy. And this is important when it comes to comparison. So you know how you get in that, almost like you're in some competition that nobody knows you're in, and you look at people on Instagram, which we already know is not a real space. Like, it's not, people aren't necessarily showing everything there. So I want you to be really careful when you look at any social media and say to yourself, oh, this is what I'm striving for. Be careful of that, because you're only seeing it from the lens in which you choose to see it. And you're going to want to be extremely careful with that, because you don't know their story. You see the glory part of it, but you don't see the story. And we all have a story, right? I always tell you the story about my pool and how it took me 6.5 years to get my pool. I've had it almost 5 years now. 6.5 years, 6.5 long years that I saved for it. It's an in-ground pool. And I love it. I open it myself. I close it myself. But if you didn't know that and you walked by my house, you might be like, wow, it must be nice to have a pool. Must be lucky. Is it lucky or is it a lot of work? And so I just say that to you because I want you to be really careful of attaching your worth to it. Definitely people, but again, totally different topic. We can talk about attachment issues at some point. But I'm saying attachment to things more from like the Buddhist perspective of you don't own anything. You don't own people. You don't own the success. You continue to work on things. And that's accepting that too, right? Link is scratching the furniture. Do not do that. But is accepting that you don't have anything to own, right? Like you don't. Like you have things that you borrow, but everything is temporary. Everything is temporary. And that's so imperative that you really get that, because you have to realize what your version of success is not somebody else's version of success. Just because you have $800,000 million, that's a new number, doesn't mean that you've reached the top, because it can be very lonely at the top. People will tell you money does not solve it. Like I said, you just saw it with Will Smith. No, of course that wasn't right what he did. Clearly going through stuff. And he has money. He has fame. And you can see this in countless amount of times in history. I'm not asking you not to have goals. I'm not asking you not to try to better yourself. Oh my gosh, for sure. But do not attach your worth to something like finances. Don't attach your worth to something like a big house. Don't attach your worth to something that's equivalent because society says you're supposed to do this out of college and then you're not doing it and now you feel like a failure because you've attached what you think success is. Skirt, hard pass, hard stop, full stop, right? So I want you to, here's some homework for you, right? I want you to get clear of what you think success is. Okay, and what does success mean for you? Because success doesn't have to be from an external thing, because your journey is success. Your journey is success, not the destination. I say it all the time about football players, right? You know, let's say somebody wins the Super Bowl. Well, somebody's going to win the Super Bowl, right? Of course, they're only good as last year's Super Bowl. This year, they're going to come back and everybody's going to be on the same playing field. But they're not just celebrating the Super Bowl. They're celebrating the entire journey that they have had for their entire life. Little league, getting hurt, high school, maybe getting cut, maybe getting picked up, preseason or college, getting drafted. Then you have, are you going to make the cut? So you get through preseason, you make the cut. Now you happen to maybe be a starter, maybe not, but in this case, you're a starter. And you get hurt and you fall, and guess what? You're going to lose games. Rarely does anybody ever just go right through the year with no losses. It's not really a thing. It's random, right? It happens, but very rarely. And then they go there, and then you have to win every game to get the Super Bowl, and then you have to win that Super Bowl. It is the process. Them getting that final touchdown or the final clock ticking down, they're not celebrating just the Lombardi Trophy. The Lombardi Trophy is not the win. It's what the Lombardi Trophy represents. So always remember that if you're not in love with the journey and the acceptance that you own nothing, everything is temporary, you don't own it. When you do that, you will be so much calmer. You will not get stressed. You will not feel this pressure. Yes, we are spiritual beings having a human experience. We have bills here to pay. Yes, you have to make money. Yes, you have to do all of those things. Your worth, however, does not depend on that. And what I mean by that is, yes, you need to do things to align yourself properly to live your best life. But don't get caught up in thinking that if you don't do it that specific way, that you're a failure. Okay? That's not a thing. And I promise you, we'll talk about failure. We'll talk about all of that and why a failure is beautiful and you have to embrace it. But I just had full sessions, and it really made me think, hey, you know what? I'm going to put something out for anybody who wants it, right? It may not be for everybody, but if you want it, it's here for you. So love you guys. Holler at you soon.